Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Learning Tree webinar, Understanding Azure Certifications, presented to you today by Sandra Marin, Microsoft Go-to-Market Lead for Azure Training and Certifications. Thank you so much for joining us. Before we start, I do want to take a quick moment to introduce you to the Learning Tree Anywhere platform. If you've ever participated in a Learning Tree class as a live virtual attendee, in the past, you will recognize this layout as this is what we often use for our webinars and used to use for our courses as well. So you'll see that our presenter, Sandra, is in the upper left-hand corner, although Sandra, I don't know if but your camera has turned off. There you are, in the upper left-hand corner. And then below Sandra is our chat box, and this is where you can participate with questions or comments. Love seeing where everyone is from, and glad to see some folks from the UK as well as the West Coast and East Coast. It's always great. I'm Central Time, so then here in the middle, you will see our presentation. So please feel free to use the chat feature for questions and troubleshooting issues if you have any. So again, thank you so much for presenting for us today, Sandra. As I mentioned, Sandra is the go-to-market lead for Azure training and certification at Microsoft Worldwide Learning. So I've been really looking forward to this webinar. One final note before I let you take it over, Sandra, and this is to our audience. Make sure you stick around to the end today as I have a very special Microsoft offer for the AZ900 Azure Fundamentals certification at the end of this webinar. So thank you again, Sandra, and I'm going to go ahead and let you take it over.
Thank you, Darby. Hello, everybody. Good morning. Still morning here where I am. Good afternoon, good evening, good night. I see we have people from Europe, France, Poland, UK, and all over the US. So I'm very happy to be here, and I'm glad. Thank you for this invitation to Learning Tree, and I'm hoping to share this time with you talking about Azure certifications. So today I want to share with you how Microsoft Azure certifications can help you personally, individuals, or your organizations to ensure that you have the skills that you need to meet the challenges of today's cloud world. Um, to understand Azure certifications, you need to know three things. How building the right skills on Azure can help you or your organization to embrace digital transformation. How the Microsoft Learn offering works and what is the role of Azure certifications as part of this offering, and how to identify the right certifications based on your current role or the role of the people in your team and your anticipated roles. Plus, we have a lot of resources available to help you and your team prepare, so we're going to talk about that as well. To set context, let's start with the role of the Microsoft Cloud in digital transformation. Microsoft offers a comprehensive portfolio of technology to support every organization across their business needs, your business needs. We are the only company that has a full technology stack to support both technology adoption and technology capability building, and ultimately increase your chance of succeeding. Our technology stack offers unparalleled integration, architectural coherence, openness, and extensibility. And underpinning all of this is Azure. But while the technology is important, it's really more about how the technology allows you to achieve more. There are many examples of digital transformation across our Azure customers, large retail companies empowering employees and meeting its customer needs, or small shops creating custom machine learning models to better serve its customers, or manufacturing companies training frontline workers and empowering them through cutting edge technology like HoloLens. So when you think why Azure, it's because we can enable anyone from any background and any company to do more and to achieve more, and ultimately to invent with purpose. don't see this moving. Okay, now it's moving. And that's how we feel about Azure. We want to invent with purpose in how we think about what we deliver to you. And also, we want to enable you to invent with purpose. And we do that in a number of key ways. So let's take a look more closely at these key promises to you, especially at what Azure can deliver and how we will help you along the way. First, we are about enabling you to be future ready. We are going to make sure that we have the technology that meets your needs not only today, but also tomorrow. The cloud is moving fast. Every week, a new technology is coming out. So it's about meeting new capabilities now and investing on those on the horizon, from the Internet of Things to AI to quantum computing. From a developer perspective, it's about being able to build on your own terms with the frameworks, the tools, and the operating system that you want to help ensure that you have the freedom and the flexibility to work successfully and to deploy your applications with quality and confidence every time. And let's talk about hybrid and helping you operate your hybrid state seamlessly. Technology is sitting in the public cloud, in the data center, on edge devices, all running together in a holistic way in a seamless environment. This seamless environment is essential. Otherwise, running that way is going to be too expensive, too hard, and insecure. And then, last, of course, is earning your trust when you invest in our cloud. Nothing is more important than trust, particularly when you are talking about the cloud. It's about addressing and meeting your security and compliance goals. These are the promises that Azure can offer you as you invest in your organization's digital transformation. If you haven't looked at Azure in a while, you might be surprised to see what we have these days. Here's a high-level map of the class of services that we offer with Azure. We currently have more than 200 products and services on Azure. So you will notice that we have extended to the edge. Azure gives you the ability to run application code in the cloud, but also in a consistent way in the edge, whether you are using Azure Stack or Azure Sphere, all the way to HoloLens and our mixed reality capabilities. These are powerful edge devices that work in connection with the cloud. You will see that we offer dev tools, DevOps, and great innovation to the core infrastructure and PaaS services. This is a very high overview of the scope of what Azure as a platform service can do for you. But let's go take a look at how you can be sure that you have the skills that you need for this tech intensity. The first element in tech intensity is tech capability. Of course, you need essential skills to build on those. If you have the team or you personally have the latest skills and capability, you can be more innovative. Because you can be more innovative, you gain a competitive advantage. And that can be speed to market or new features or an entirely new way of looking at problems that can be solved by technology. When you have tech capability, it's easier to adopt new technologies. And now you are in the game because you have tech confidence. Notice that everything starts with having the right skills. Without these, you have nothing. You have nothing to build on and you cannot go anywhere. It's the technical skills that sets you free, that enables you to be a successful professional or a successful organization in this fast-paced moving world. Skills build confidence, and confidence drives productivity, innovation, and growth. And Azure certifications help you build skills intensity. Without the right skills or the right talent in your organization, you cannot meet today's demand. Azure certifications are designed to validate technical knowledge and skills and ability in current and future industry job roles. This means they can help you ensure that you or your organization have the right talent. Azure certifications enable different type of professionals, technology infrastructure professionals, IT pros, developers, data and AI professionals, to validate that all of them have the necessary skills to cover all the aspects of digital transformation, from managing on-premises, hybrid, or cloud infrastructure to innovating with the best-in-class applications. Azure certifications also help professionals show that they have what it takes to support both applications and infrastructure with the data and analytics, all with the proper security considerations. So Azure certifications, you can tell, that help you cover all the different aspects of digital transformation. So let's take a look, double click on what this means from a portfolio perspective. You can see here a full view of the Azure certification portfolio. We have a variety of certifications across fundamentals, role-based, and specialties. Some certifications in our portfolio are more suited or are better for IT professionals or for developers or for data professionals. However, many of our certifications are a good fit for more than one technical audience or profession. We're going to go in a moment in more detail of each of this portfolio. Let me explain what I mean by that. I'm going to go with each one of the audiences. So this is the first set of certifications that we recommend to validate the skills that IT professionals need to build, deploy, and manage on-premises, hybrid, or cloud infrastructure solutions. Although the certifications are that I'm going to talk about in this third part are mostly for IT professionals, you will see that some of them actually fit different roles. So I'm going to start with the Azure Administrator Associate certification. This is the most important initial certification for IT professionals. This one we recommend for cloud administrators. If you are an IT pro, this is your starting point. All the other certifications for IT pros assume that you have a strong Azure administration knowledge and experience. So if you are thinking on all the other certifications that I'm going to talk about, be sure you always start here with Azure Administrator. This Azure Administrator certification and the related training are about the skills to implement, monitor, and manage Azure solutions, including all aspects of compute, storage, network, and security. Now I'm going to move to the next certification. Every Azure certification and training includes a security component, but the Azure Security Engineer Associate is a deep dive into security controls and threat protection. It's all about identity and access, security across data and applications, hybrid and cloud networks, and end-to-end infrastructure. So if you are in the security world, after Azure Administrator, we recommend you to go to explore the Azure Security Engineer. Network engineers is another one. This is a critical role in supporting organizations to become more digitally connected. And the Azure Network Engineer Associate certification can help networking professionals to shine a light on these critical skills. So networking is very important in the digital world, and this is the certification for these professionals. Now, if your skills are bringing cloud agility to on-premises environments, you should consider the Azure Stack Hub Operator Associate certification. This is about cloud agility, but on-premises. And talking about on-premises, we recently released the Windows Server Hybrid Administrator Associate certification. This is key for professionals that manage core and advanced on-premises, hybrid, and cloud workloads. So if you come from the Windows Server on-premises world, this is a key certification to explore and the training associated. But we have more certifications in the infrastructure area. So continuing, a critical step in IT is securing continuous integration and continuous delivery. DevOps Engineer Expert is the role-based certification that addresses this capability. This certification is expert level. That means that it's more complex and it has a pre-requirement, meaning you need to earn another certification before earning this certification. That's part of the expert situation. So if you want to become a DevOps engineer expert, if you want to earn the DevOps engineer expert certification, you have two paths. If you come from the infrastructure world, you must have first an Azure administrator. If you come from the developer world, you must have first an Azure developer certification. So you can see already by the pre-requirements that this certification is good for infrastructure, but it's also good for developers, which is the DevOps. The DevOps world is like that. You can come from infrastructure or you can come from development. Azure Solutions Architect is another expert level certification. And this certification is about the skills to design end-to-end solutions for Azure, considering infrastructure, applications, data, and more. This is a very comprehensive certification, and if you follow our news, we recently updated this certification to have a strong pre-requirement. So in order to earn the Azure Solutions Architect Expert certification, you must first earn the Azure Administrator certification. So that's a recent change to this one. Now I want to talk about specialty certifications. The first one that we have here is Azure for SAP Workloads. This certification is designed for SAP architects that have extensive experience building, deploying, migrating, and operating SAP solutions on Azure. So it's a very specific type of professionals, and that's why it's a specialty. Now, our second specialty certifications in these times of remote working, actually these roles and these certifications became very relevant. The Azure Virtual Desktop Specialty certification is key for remote working, and professionals with this certification are highly sought after. This certification validates that you have the skills to plan, deliver, and manage virtual desktop experiences and remote apps for any device on Azure. And we recently announced a certification that is part of our new portfolio for support engineers. So this is the third specialty I want to talk about. The Azure Support Engineer for Connectivity specialty is perfect for professionals to prove their skills using advanced troubleshooting methods to resolve networking and connectivity issues on Azure. We announced this certification not more than a month ago, and it's coming soon at the end of this month. And it's, as I mentioned, it's part of a new portfolio of certifications that is specific for support engineers, and this one is the first one that we have in Azure. Now let's talk about certifications for developers. These are the certifications that we have created to validate the skills that developers need to innovate with best-in-class applications. The first certification is the obvious one, is Azure Developer Associate, and this is about validating the skills necessary to build, maintain, and optimize Azure apps using first and third-party services. So this is key. If you are in the developer world, the same if you are in the infrastructure world, we recommended Azure Administrator. If you are in the developer world, this is the first one you should go look at. Then we already talked about DevOps engineer and how is good if you are coming from the developer world. Then you have to earn first the Azure developer, and then you can go for the DevOps engineer. If you are coming from the infrastructure world, then you should consider Azure administrator and then DevOps. Um, this certification DevOps is good for both IT pros and developers. Now, the Azure IoT developer specialty is one of the specialties for developers, and this certification is focused on creating IoT solutions and validating skills to implement, optimize, manage, and operate a full Azure IoT solution, including the devices. So this certification validates also skills to process and manage data generated by those devices. So it's a pretty cool certification if you are on these edge solutions. IoT is a pretty cool one to look at. And of course, all the training related to that. Then we move into a different world, which is another cool option, which is artificial intelligence. The Azure AI Engineer Associate certification lives in the intersection of applications and data and AI solutions. So it's good for developers, but it's also good for data and AI professionals. This certification validates that you have the skills needed to embed artificial intelligence capabilities into applications, and this includes cognitive services, machine learning, knowledge mining, conversational AI. So it's very interesting set of skills for developers creating all these AI enabled or AI ready applications. And we recently released another certification, another specialty certification for developers, the Azure Cosmos DB specialty certification. And this is a great fit for developers with skills creating cloud app applications built with Azure Cosmos DB. So it's modern type of applications. Now, let's go to certifications for data and AI professionals. So in this world, we have, these are the certifications that validate skills required to support applications and infrastructure with data and analytics. So the first one, the Azure Database Administrator Associate, this certification validates skills required to plan, implement, optimize, and operate hybrid and cloud data platform solutions using Microsoft SQL Server and Azure Data Services. So this is another one of those certifications that lives in the hybrid world, the on-premises SQL Server world, SQL Server in the cloud, and data cloud services with Azure Data Services. So this certification is perfect for database administrators, DBAs moving to the cloud world. It's a very good transition to data in the cloud. The Azure Data Engineer Associate validates skills to integrate, transform, and consolidate data from structured and unstructured data systems into structures that are suitable for building analytics solutions. So this certification is when we have all this data across multiple and siloed data sources, the data engineer takes all this data and prepares and make it ready to build analytics solutions. So that is the role of the data engineer, and this certification is to prove those skills. The Azure Data Scientist certification is another one in the AI world. It validates the skills needed to create and use machine learning models with Azure. This certification doesn't prove that you are a data scientist. This certification proves that you can do data science on Azure, that you can apply data science using Azure. So it's you still need the data science basic skills, and with this certification and with the training, you will learn and you will prove that you know how to do that with Azure. We mentioned AI engineer already, so I'm not gonna dig in that one anymore, but that's another of our AI certifications. Now, we have the second part. We already talked about Cosmos DB developer specialty. And how it's a good set of skills for developers building modern cloud applications using Azure Cosmos DB. Now, you probably have heard about the Data Analyst Associate certification. So this certification now is called Power BI Data Analyst Associate certification. It's all about data analytics and visualization, and it validates the skills needed to prepare, model, visualize, and analyze data using Microsoft Power BI. If you follow us, you probably knew of this certification as data analyst. Now we have changed the name to make it very specific, Power BI data analyst. And there were significant changes to this certification. We changed the exam, and now the certification lives under the Power Platform portfolio, but it's still a very good certification for data and AI professionals. That's why, even though it's not an Azure certification anymore, we still keep it here and we talk about it. And one of the reasons why we talk about it is because we announced a couple of weeks ago a new certification that is coming in some weeks, and is the Azure Enterprise Data Analyst certification. So the relationship between the Microsoft Power BI data analyst and the Azure Enterprise Data Analyst is that the Azure Enterprise Data Analyst is a possible growth path for data analysts that start with visualization and move into enterprise scale analytics solutions. So the new certification brings opportunities to enterprise data analysts building end-to-end analytics solutions that are enterprise scale, including not only the visualization component with Power BI, but also the design and implementation of the data analytics environments with Azure. So that's why this is a natural evolution for the Microsoft Power BI data analyst. So this is some of our recent changes and announcements. So we are enhancing the portfolio to make it more to make it richer and to provide growth paths for our learners. Now you might be wondering, what about fundamentals? I haven't talked about fundamentals. I'm going to talk about fundamentals right now. So all our fundamentals certifications validate foundational understanding of Microsoft technologies. So if you are just starting on Azure, or if you are a cloud beginner, we recommend that you consider the Azure Fundamentals Training and Certification. This certification will allow you validate foundational knowledge of cloud services and how Azure provides those services. So you can use this certification as preparation for other role-based certifications, but it's not a requirement. But we strongly recommend, if you are just starting on Azure, if you are a cloud beginner, take a look at this content, at this training, take a look at this certification, just to cover the basics. It's super important to cover the basics. Now, we have a couple of additional fundamentals certifications in the portfolio. If you are getting started in the AI world, you want to take a look at the Azure AI Fundamentals. These certifications will allow you to demonstrate your knowledge of common machine learning and AI workloads and how to implement those workloads with Azure. You don't need to be a technical professional to take this exam and to earn this certification, but you might need some general programming knowledge, and you don't need to be a data science or a software engineer, data scientist or software engineer, and you don't need experience of that. So this is foundational concepts that you will have, but it's very cool about AI and machine learning workloads. Now, if you are looking to grow your cloud database expertise, then and this is a suggestion, a recommendation for developers or for data professionals. If you are beginning to work with data in the cloud, this Azure Data Fundamentals certification can help you prove your knowledge and skills of core data concepts and how they are implemented using Azure Data Services. So these three certifications, Azure Fundamentals, Azure AI Fundamentals, and Azure Data Fundamentals, they are about the foundations. So we strongly recommend always, if you're not looking at the certification, at least take a look at the content and get this training, because this foundational knowledge will help you address all the other topics. Now, there is another fundamental certifications that we like to recommend, even though it's not part of the Azure portfolio. But since we talk about the Microsoft Power BI Data Analyst and the new Azure Enterprise Data Analyst, the Microsoft Power Platform Fundamental certification is a good starting point. It's actually even good for Azure developers. These Power Platform Fundamentals certifications validates understanding of the core capabilities of the Microsoft Power Platform, and this includes Power Apps and Power BI. So it's very good foundation for developers, for data analysts, and it will give you really good foundational knowledge. Now, I'm going to summarize here and show you again the full portfolio together. So one thing that we are committed in Microsoft is in reviewing our training and certification portfolio periodically to help ensure that it remains relevant, that it's technically accurate, and that our certifications are assessing the skills that you as a professional or an organization needs to thrive as digital companies. So we review our whole portfolio and each one of the certifications periodically to make sure that they are not only assessing the right skills, but that they are assessing the skills that need to be validated by each one of the roles. So we take a look at each one of the certifications individually, and we also take a look at the whole portfolio, and we review how these certifications may overlap or how they complement, to be sure that we don't have that we have a coherent portfolio, that we are not duplicating skills, and that we are giving true emphasis on what is really important for each one of the roles. So the perfect example is the data analyst and the Power BI data analyst and the Azure Enterprise data analyst. So we took a look at the certification, how it was defined, and we figured that there was a set of skills, but we were missing an important set of skills. So that's why we changed the name for the original one, and we created a second one to allow for those professionals with those additional skills to prove that they had those skills. So we are committed to do these reviews, and that's how you will see every now and then that we are updating our portfolio and that we have new roles, because constantly technology is evolving and we have new roles in the market and the industry that are being created every day, every time, because there are new technology capabilities and we need to address that with new skills and new roles. So you will see that we have new certifications coming, or you will see that we update our certifications, because we need to be sure that we are allowing you to prove that you are that you have the skills with the current technology. So we go through process to update every 2 months our exams and certifications to be sure that we are assessing the skills that are available, the skills that will allow you to manage the technology today. And then sometimes we remove certifications that are no longer needed. So when roles are disappearing from the market, from the industry, and when technologies are disappearing and those skills are no longer required, we also may retire certifications. Now, I've shown you all our portfolio, and I've gone like with certain detail about each one of them. And probably you already kind of like have an idea of like, okay, maybe my area is developers or IT pros, or maybe I'm leaning towards the data and AI. So you can see that you can have one or multiple or combined depending on what your current role is, or what or where you want to go later, how you want to grow as a professional or as an organization. But we also have resources to help you get ready and prepare for this. I'm going to click through this really quick because it's easier. Okay. So we have a lot of resources to help you understand this and to help you prepare if certification is in your goals. So we have, if you want to explore in more detail what I've shared today, there are these resources to understand Microsoft certifications. We have a blog series where we show the full detail. We show the full portfolio, and we also have articles for each one of the roles and certifications. If you want to get inspired, we have a nice video, and we have the Azure poster, which is some of the images that I show you here. Now, to help you prepare, we have official curriculum. For every one of our certifications, you can always find Microsoft official courses. These are courses developed directly by Microsoft and delivered by Microsoft Learning partners like LearningTree. These courses are taught by Microsoft certified trainers. These official courses are designed based on the same blueprint that we use to create our certification exams. So you know, if you are taking the training, you are getting prepared to the skills that are being measured on the different exams and certifications. So they are all designed at the same time. So when we create the content, we are thinking on how you're going to use that to prepare for your certifications. Additionally, every certification has free self-paced online training on Microsoft Learn. And you can have their short step-by-step tutorials. You have some hands-on lab included, assessments, and you even have labs on Microsoft Learn with a free sandbox environment. So for most of the training that you will find for Azure on Microsoft Learn, you don't need to have an Azure subscription. You can do training hands-on lab directly in the platform with this sandbox environment. Now we have additional resources to help you get skills and prepare for certifications. There are practice exams that can help you get ready for the real thing. These are offered by our partner Measure Up. And we have other resources to get you up to speed skilling on Azure. Microsoft Docs is our platform for all product documentation. You have the Azure Developer Guide. I highly recommend that resource for developers. For architects, we have the Azure Architecture Center and a couple of other resources for architects, the well-architected framework and the Azure Cloud Adoption Framework. Those are very valuable resources for you to plan and envision how to adopt technology and how to create solutions. So architects, I highly recommend those resources. Now, one thing about Azure certifications, and this actually is Microsoft certifications in general, is that taking the training is not enough to pass the exams, because our exams are designed to test that you have skills, knowledge, and experience. So you must have experience. If you are going to take a test, be sure that you have used the platform. Fundamentals is different. Our fundamentals certifications don't require experience, but all the other certifications, role-based and specialties, those will require experience with the platform and in the role, because you will see in the exams use cases. They are going to ask how to apply the technology to solve a business problem. So it's not about memorizing products or services or technology features. Is how you use that technology to solve a use case or a scenario or a problem. So this is a recommendation when you are preparing for Microsoft certifications in general and for Azure in particular, is that be sure that you have experience with the platform and that you have experience in the role, because you're going to need that for the exams most likely. And then a couple of resources to stay connected with Microsoft Learn. We have a strong presence on social, Twitter, LinkedIn. We have a newsletter. Be sure to subscribe to our newsletter. And the Microsoft Learn blog is a super key resource, because every announcement that we do about our certification portfolio, our training portfolio, this is where we announce through the Microsoft Learn blog. So be sure that you are visiting and subscribing to our articles, so you can be up to date on what we are doing and announcing and releasing. Now I have saved this key resource for the end. Because Microsoft Learning Partners are always available to help you in your skilling journey. Whether you are a professional individual or you are an organization, Microsoft Learning Partners offer a breadth of training solutions to suit your learning needs. So if you're an organization, you can work with Learning Tree, and they will help you to plan your skilling journey. They will work with you to understand what your goals are, what your needs are, what your constraints and limitations are, and they will work with you to create a plan that suits you, to customize a plan just for you, for your organization. So our learning partners are a strong component of our Microsoft Learn offering, because we rely on them to help you with deeper engagement. And as I mentioned, all our Microsoft official curriculum can be delivered only by Microsoft certified trainers through Microsoft Learning Partners. So be sure that if you are considering a skilling journey, to connect with Learning Tree and talk to them, and they will help you they will sit with you to understand what your needs are, and they will help you to tailor a skilling journey that is just for you. But ultimately, both Learning Tree and Microsoft, we offer you resources, but every company and every person has a unique journey. Your organization digital transformation, your professional growth will define your own learning journey. Depending on what your goals are, depending on what your business goals are, you might identify different skilling needs. Some members of your team or some professionals might need foundational understanding of the technology. You may have some members of your team that need a specific technical training to be successful in their jobs, in their roles. Or you may have specific projects that requires specific skills. So you can combine multiple technologies to deliver the best solution. That's your learning journey, and that learning journey is going to be defined by your business or professional goals. After you have identified those goals, those learning and skilling needs, you can create a learning plan for you, for yourself, for your team, combining different learning experiences available to you through digital skilling, training events, classroom training, hands-on labs. And then you or your team can pursue certifications to prove skills and to help gain recognition. but it's your learning journey, and Microsoft and Learning Tree are here to help you. So our last thought is technical skilling is critical for your digital transformation, and we are here to help you. And we are here to support your journey, and we are very excited to share this learning journey with you. And Darby, I guess I'm back to you for a moment before we go to questions.
Thank you so much, Sandra. I really appreciate it. For those who haven't asked questions, for those who have, I have been taking notes here. So thank you so much. And I'll be sure to ask Sandra. But for those who haven't, feel free to ask your question now in the chat box, and hopefully we'll have some time to get to it. I know I mentioned at the beginning of the webinar that I had a special offer for attendees today. So if you are interested in participating in the Microsoft Azure Fundamentals one-day course. This is a demo course with Learning Tree International. We do have an opportunity for you to do so. We actually have 2 dates available, as you can see here. We will be hosting the AZ900 course on Monday, which is the 28th of March here in North America, Eastern Time, which is 9 a.m. till 4:30. And you do get a AZ900 Microsoft exam voucher with attendance in this course. So if you are interested, I will provide the links in the chat in just a moment. And then the second opportunity is actually UK, British time, and that is actually Monday, April 4th. Also 9 a.m. till 4:30. It's the one-day AZ900 demo, and that also includes an exam voucher. We are limited on the number of seats that we have available. So if you are interested, please make sure that you get registered today if you can. Um, and we'll look forward to hopefully seeing you in that event. I know a couple of folks had also asked if the exam presentation, sorry, if the webinar presentation is going to be available to you. And yes, to answer your question, it will be available on your My Learning Tree account. So for those of you who have already participated in webinars or courses through Learning Tree in the past, you'll be able to access this webinar on your My Learning Tree account. But for anyone who is new to Learning Tree, you do also have a My Learning Tree account just by registering for this webinar. So in the next few days, you will receive a follow-up email with details on how to activate your account and get access to this and other webinars, as well as great assets like skills assessments and our e-catalog, things like that. So, all right, Sandra, let's go ahead. Let me get to these questions real quick. Now, the first question that we had is when you were talking about the Azure certifications for IT pros. Alejandro had asked, is the support engineer certification now available? And I didn't hear you mention it, so I thought I'd let you answer that.
Yeah, so we announced the new Azure Support Engineer for Connectivity Specialty Certification. We announced it 2 weeks ago, and the beta exam is going to be available at the end of this month. So
Gotcha.
I recommend you to stay tuned to the Microsoft Learn blog, because that's where we will make the announcement. It's going to be released at the end of this month.
Okay, I
And
remembered seeing
don't
that
tell anybody I
myself.
told you, it's going to be March 31st.
Okay. All right.
But let me complement this answer, because we I mentioned that we are creating a new portfolio of certifications for the support engineer role. So the Azure one is the one that we are releasing, but we already released one for Teams like 2 months ago. You will find that information also in the Microsoft Learn blog. So you will see all these certifications are going to be called support engineer something specialty. So you can take a look, because there will be more coming, because this is a very specific role that we find that requires very specific training and certifications.
Okay, Perfect. Thank you so much. And then Barbara had asked, what learning certification path would you recommend for professionals, DevOps as well as architects, who are very well versed with the cloud, but with a different vendor and want to get up to speed on Azure?
Yeah. So that's a very interesting question, and actually, I saw a question right after that one, similar with GCP and AWS. The good thing is that if you are already working on different cloud vendors, you already have a lot of the skills that you need to embrace Azure because you already have all the cloud components. So basically, you need to complement your training and skills with to learn what things that you already know how to do in AWS or in GCP, how do you do those same things in Azure? What things that you are not able to do today in AWS or GCP can you do with Azure? So we have a couple of trainings available for AWS professionals. We have one training available for AWS SysOps admins. So that training, if you are in the SysOps infrastructure admin role, be sure to take that training because that will give you that differential between what you do in AWS and what you do in Azure. So that is one training, the AWS. There is no certification, but after you take that training, you probably will be able to go for the Azure Administrator certification. There is a similar training is AWS developers and probably Darby, this is something we're gonna need to answer with the right courses. So the AWS developers training, Azure for AWS developers training is similar. It's like you are a developer on AWS, and it will help you to move what you know, the skills you know, to the Azure world. After the training, you probably can go for the Azure Developer Azure Developer certification. And we do have another one that is for architects, for AWS architects. So it's Azure for AWS architects. I can't remember the exact names of these courses. So after the Azure, the training for AWS architects is the same. So you will learn kind of like how to transition from the AWS world to the Azure world. And then you can go for the Azure Administrator Associate certification. We don't have equivalent for Google for GCP though. But this is a very good way to transition and complement what you already know how to do with other cloud vendors to move to Azure. So it should be a fairly quick process, not like if you were starting from scratch, because you already have a lot of knowledge and competencies. We don't have such a training for DevOps though, but if you do the Azure admin or the developer and the architect, you should be able to evolve and transition into the DevOps engineer role that we have in Azure, in Microsoft.
All right, thank you so much, Sandra. And looks like we're having issues with the registration. I guess it's not allowing some phone numbers, so I apologize. I did let my web team know for those that are commenting about that. Now, Christina has a great question. I know this is something that we focus on a lot, is the value of certification. And she had asked how much an Azure certificate or is an Azure certificate valued? So how much more competitive does it make you compared to someone with an Azure without an Azure certification?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and you will get a different answer depending who you ask the question. Of course, we value certifications a lot, and we hear from our customers and partners that they value certifications a lot, and they often, when they are hiring or recruiting new people, that's one of the things that they consider because when you're interviewing somebody like you, there are certain ways that you can try and assess if these people has the experience or the skills that you need. So Microsoft certifications is one of those way one of those ways that companies are using to assess or to screen individuals they are looking into hiring to their companies. Um, Depending on what stage you are in your career, certifications can give you leverage on what your next step is going to be. We have several research from first party and from third party showing how people who are Microsoft certified report that they have more chance are getting promotions and that they actually get salary increase after they earn a certification. So companies are looking at certifications as one of those ways to help their own employees also to grow in the company. And a lot of our customers and partners are investing in helping their employees to get trained and to get certified. So because they see the value that going through the certification process gives to learners and to individuals, because that shows your commitment, that shows that you are looking into growing your own career and profession. So we constantly hear feedback from customers and partners we work with on how they value this and they use it as a tool. So depending on where you are in your career, it can be more or less useful. But from what we hear, we hear pretty good feedback.
Thank you, Sandra. And I hear the same thing, especially when I was in a customer service sales role, how much value certifications have behind them. So I think that's great. I think we have time for one more, and it's another certification path question that I always find very beneficial when speaking directly with the source. Malik had asked, what learning certification path would you recommend for full stack developers and architects?
Well, we if we are going on the Azure platform, kind of like I showed, Azure developer for sure. Depending on the kind of projects that you are doing or want to do, you can move into IoT, for example, IoT developer, or you can move to AI engineer. Um, if you are looking into developing cloud apps, modern cloud apps, the Azure Cosmos DB. So those are kind of like uh, specific topics. If you're working in those kind of projects or you want to work in those kind of projects, those I highly recommend. um, and our architect certification, Azure Solutions Architect, although it's more for infrastructure and for the developers. Um, if you have that basic infrastructure knowledge, you can actually go after for our Azure Solutions Architect Expert certification. But you're gonna need the Azure Administrator for that one. Um, we are continuously checking on what the developer audience is looking for and asking for, and what our customers and partners are telling us on the profile of developers they want to. So this is one area where we are constantly scanning to see how we better serve our learners and our customers and partners with the right training and certification. Developers is a very, very interesting area. But for now, we have already 5 certifications for them: Azure Developer, IoT, AI Engineer, Cosmos DB Developer, and DevOps. Yeah.
Thank you, Sandra. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, everybody, for participating today. The event for Monday, Christina asking about it being recorded, it will not. You will need to register and attend live. It is not on demand. But if you could please continue to try and register. I apologize. Our marketing team or web team is working on updating the web forms to allow international phone numbers. So if you want to give it a try here again in a little bit, we would appreciate it. And in the meantime, if you visit learningtree.com, you could certainly chat with us. Our customer service team will be standing by to assist with your registration as well. So I appreciate it. Thank you again, Sandra, so much. And we love our webinars with Microsoft, and we look forward to hopefully speaking with you again very soon.